Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 in this little mini series on the applications for Heian Nidan or Pinan Shodan. So we're at the end stretch here. We're moving from that shuto into our gyaku uchi-uki all the way down the line into that final big turn, and we've got the get and Brian agi-uki pairs at the end. We're going to see a little takedown at the end here. It's not necessarily a core part of the application because we're still looking to control limbs and strike, but it is a little useful, something that we can look at if we're interested. Again, we're focusing on limb control here. The fight has closed distance slightly, so we're looking at a lot of grab defenses, things of that nature, but we're still controlling limb, striking, controlling, striking, hands working together. And we're working through this, trying to get to that fight finishing technique. Again, with a lot of these, we can transition back into the shuto drill that we did in the last video, use that as a contingency, use that to kind of follow on and move into as a last resort. But here we're moving on to, as I say, more grabs, more close range stuff, a little bit of head control and a takedown, and that'll be us done with the kata. So far we've covered all the way up to the first major turn in the kata, and then the 4 techniques which come after that, which are those 4 shutos, which are covered in the shuto transition work that we did last time. So from where we left off, the next techniques we've got are the step across, we've got gyaku uchi-uki, the kick and the gyakuzuki as we land. That's obviously repeated on the opposite side. Marote uki, another big turn, get a Brian agi-uki, get a Brian agi-uki. So we're going to look first at the gyaku uchi-uki, the kick and the punch. So for me, I really like this as a double strike, coming across the centre line in quite a forceful manner. For me, is really good as a kind of a grip breaking technique. So Sophia's going to grab me nice and hard. What I'm going to do, I'm going to control that hand in, okay, that's what my hikite is doing, and I'm going to come across, and that's the setup for my uchi-uki, my gyaku uchi-uki there. Okay, we're aiming deliberately for the elbow. Okay, it's better to hit slightly high and slide down into it. If we come slightly low on the arm, we're just hitting forearm to forearm, and we're going to move our opponent a little bit, but not as much as if I miss high and drag down. So we're going to swap grips, and just as an example of how important it is to get into the elbow this is, Sophia is going to do 3 strikes. She's going to strike into my forearm, into my upper arm, and then into my elbow, and we're going to see how much I move. So first we're going to do striking into the forearm, nice and hard. Next we're going to do the upper arm. Move me a little bit more. Go again, upper arm. Yeah, a bit more. Now we're going to strike nice and hard into the elbow. And once more, nice and hard. Okay? So I can guarantee there that all of those hits were the same strength, the same level of strength. So we can see how it's really important to make sure we're getting the right part of our opponent when we're striking. This is one of the reasons why performing the kata the same way each time you do it is really important, because it will reinforce that muscle memory and it'll help you find those targets when you need to, because you'll have better control of your own self, so you can put yourself where you need to be. So going from here, Sophia's going to grab me, I'm going to control the hand, I'm going to break that elbow down. Okay, I'm going to follow up with a back fist and push her back. Okay, chances are, as I bring this down, as soon as the pressure comes off her elbow, she's going to start standing up. And I'm going to let her, because that'll give me a little bit extra space to get nice and hard into her head. So back fist, forearm smash, something like that. Okay? from here I'm going to control her by the collar, by the head, by whatever's convenient. Okay? And with my left foot forward, I've got this right foot that I can kick with. So I've got the knee there, as we were talking about when we looked at the first kick in this kata. It doesn't have to be a front kick, I've got a shovel kick into the front leg there. Okay? So if I strike her and she steps back and turns, I've got a nice side kick into the back of the knee there that she's given me, and that's really kind of her. So again, we're not looking at specific techniques, we're looking at principles: control, strike, kick, and as we land, control. And we've got that follow up with the Gyakuzuki, and I'm just controlling the head here and striking into the side. So let's get a better look at that. We'll swap directions and we'll have a look from the opposite angle. So again, we're here, Sophia's grabbed, I'm going to break that elbow down, strike into the head, I'm kicking into whatever leg is convenient. From here it's actually the rear leg, so I can go nicely into the side of that knee, control the head, got a nice grip on the hair, punching over her arm into the neck. That's if that grip's not broken. If that grip's not broken, if that grip is broken, makes it even easier for me. We can control the head here, and we've got a range of striking techniques we can use. Again, we're looking for principles here. So if I'm here, come down, I strike, I kick, and that brings Sophia forward. I'm not going to go, oh, just need to move back so I can throw my nice Gyakuzuki over the top. If I end up here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a short little hook into the back of the head there. Okay, we're looking to strike the head, we're not necessarily looking specifically for the Gyakuzuki. So obviously in the kata we have this on both sides, and we can use both hands on whichever hand grabs. So I'm going to start left foot forward again, so what I've just done, and Sophia's going to grab me left-handed. So I'm here, I'm going to bring that elbow down, again I'm going to strike, this time I'm much more up under the chin, control that shoulder, kick into the rear knee, and I can strike up under the chin again. So again, I'm using the exact same side of the body there against the opposite side of attack. We can make this work regardless of the attack that we face. And again, if I end up with my right foot forward, I can use the same side of arms with the right foot forward. I just need to use the opposite leg to kick, or I can do exactly what I've just done with my arms on the other side. So that's nice and easy. We're going to move on to the next part of the kata now, which is our Morote-yoki. So we're pretty much at the end here. We've got 5 techniques left, so essentially one set of application left. We've got our Morote-yoki, and then we do another turn into Gedenbrai, Agi-yoki, Gedenbrai, Agi-yoki. So the Morote-yoki again is one that is almost a variation on what we've just done with the elbow break and the strike to the head. So this time Sophia's going to grab me with her left hand. She's going to grab me either lapel works. So there could be any number of reasons why we use this instead of what we've just done with the Yoshi-yoki. It could be distance, it could be preference, it could be speed. This is a slightly faster technique to use than what we've just done. I'm going to use my left hand again to break the elbow down. That's going to be the same. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike simultaneously with the right hand as an uppercut, so that as her head comes down, it meets my hand coming up. Okay? So we've got down and up at the same time, and if Sophia slides out, we've got that nice Morote-yoki position here. So she's grabbed here, control down, strike up. Now the next move for me is a Gedenbrai turning to the left, but I'm actually not in a suitable position for that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the first Gedenbrai and Agi-yoki, and I'm going to use the second one. So I'm going to Gedenbrai with my right hand. So it's going to come up nice and high, and I'm going to use this as a little neck crank. I'm going to pull Sophia down and round, and my Agiyuki is going to be a strike to target of kind of convenience. So I've got the neck, side of the neck, I can throw it as an elbow. What I'm aiming for with the Gedenbrai is to take her down to the floor, and we'll have a look at that in a second. But for now, if we've just got control of the head, we want to strike one of these vulnerable areas. So let's have a look at how we can use that Gedenbrai as a little takedown. So we're now going to look at how we can use our Gedenbrai as a takedown. It's important to note that if you're significantly smaller than your opponent, this isn't guaranteed to work, but it's an interesting little takedown to have in there, and it may prove useful for some people. So we're going to use a neck crank to take our opponent to the ground using that Gedenbrai kind of motion. So Sophia's going to grab me again with her left hand. I've got my Marotte uki, so controlling the elbow, striking into the head. My right hand's the one doing the Gedenbrai, so it's going to come round. I'm going for a nice hard strike to the back of the head here. This will serve two purposes. One, it will disorient her a bit. The second is, as I push forward, she's going to want to stand back up. And we're going to use that momentum to take her down to the ground. So what we're aiming to do here is grab the chin and pull it up and around, and hope the rest of the body follows. So this is why I said it's important to note that if you're significantly weaker or smaller or shorter than your opponent, this isn't guaranteed for you. And that's why we have the contingency that there's the Agiyuki, so that we can use that as strikes. So let's go back, let's have another look at using that Agiyuki. So we're going to have a look at how we can use that Agiyuki now, and we're going to look at it on both sides. So Sophia's grabbing me with the opposite hand now. That Marotte uki is going to be exactly the same. So I'm controlling the elbow down with my left hand, I'm punching up with my right. Okay? From here, again, my left hand is going to come round, and I'm striking into the back of the head there, and controlling the chin round. I've got this nice Agiyuki as an elbow, as a roundhouse. If the distance is slightly further away, for the forearm strike there. Okay? If she grabs me with the other hand, it's going to be almost exactly the same, and we've seen it briefly a second ago. Controlling it down there, right hand's coming, striking, trying to pull back, and then striking into the head, the neck, the face, with this Agiyuki as a contingency. So that's the very last section of the kata, from the Shuto uki stepping across into Gyaku uchi all the way through to the Gedenbrai and the Agiyuki. We've had a couple of very easy takedowns in this kata, but the principle of the kata is primarily limb control and then striking. Almost all of the application we have, from the very first techniques where I'm controlling the arms and striking to the face, through those Shuto strikes, all the way to the last technique where we've got striking the head with the Gedenbrai as a bicep strike and the Agiyuki to follow up. It's all about controlling limbs and then striking the head. This is the first stage of the Heian or the Pinan kata. Okay, so it's really important that we focus on those kind of high percentage techniques, which really are those kind of fight finishers where we're striking for the most important parts of our opponent. The next video that we do, we'll look at Heian Shodan or Pinan Nidan, and we're going to look at some more slightly simpler takedowns in that kata, and then we're going to move on to Heian Sandan after that, where we're going to look at the more complicated takedowns and build our skill set.